On Shavuos, we read the text of the book of Ruth, Megillat Ruth. And it is one of many, many books that reveal the secret joys of Jewish grandparenting. And if I were to ask you before, like, oh, what's Ruth about? The word grandparent would not have come out of your mouth. I'm sure of it. And yet, well, the story in general starts with a woman named Naomi who's having a really hard time, and she loses her husband, she loses her sons, and she tries to send away her daughters-in-law. And Ruth, her daughter-in-law, says, no, I'm staying with you. And it's a very beautiful story of connection and love and working through difficult times. But the climax of the story, the ultimate place, is when Ruth marries and has a baby boy of her own. And at the birth of this child, the other women in the village come to Naomi and tell her how joyous being a grandmother will be, and what this grandbaby will do to elevate her and lift her, and that her being elderly will no longer be, because she will have the joy of being a grandparent. And how does Naomi take this message? Naomi, and Naomi takes the boy, and she brings him close to her, and she sustains him, and she becomes like a mother to him, right? She is very much actualizing the role of grandparenthood. Naomi is like super grandma, the grandma you want to be, the grandma you wanted to have. That's who she is. And what happens to this boy, Oved? We really don't know much about him, except that he takes the power of super grandmother, and he later becomes super grandfather. And he is the grandfather to King David, to David HaMelech. King David, like, unbelievable. And the Mashiach, the Messiah, is going to come from that line, from Melech David. So understand that super grandparents bring about Mashiach. Grand plan, it starts with you and leaving that joyous legacy of Jewish life. And then it goes forward, door le door.